the first to know Nsem-Pii TV.
NPP amanyukuo no abatoɔ no etimi ena aba no wie Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ena etimi edi nkonim a ɔkɔ na wakɔ akɔfesi NDC in 2024 na no enam so ama nsɛmtwerɛfoɔ etimi efrɛ yewura Sammy Awuku a ɔno ɛyɛ NL boss a ɔno ɛsan ɛyɛ Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia campaign team no ɔka ho bi na ɛno ɛna one ɛne ɛtwetwe nkɔmɔ interesting ahead of 2024 economy no ebetimi egyina ne nan so ɛna afei one ebetimi defeat NDC amanyɔkuo no ana ɛno ɛnam so ɛma one etimi ɛde Felix Ofosu Kwakye a ɔno nso ɛyɛ aide to former president Yoweri John Dramani Mahama nso etimi ɛba bɛto ahoma no so bi na no de abusua na sɛ wani nsɛsɛ yɛ ka kyerɛ yɛnkɔ na yɛnkɔtie nsɛm a etimi ɛkɔɔ so between Felix Ofosu Kwakye and Sammy Awuku.
I now understand why Felix was unable to collate his party's results in 2016. Because the analysis that he's making, if you don't take care, not just because it is jaundiced, but there's a bit of hypocrisy in the argument that he's making. And first of all, let me start from the point that he said, one, the fact that you have lost an election before does not mean you cannot win again, when he asked him on the Mahama side. Then again, he also tells you that Bawumia, looking at the vote that he garnered, will not make it possible for him to even win the general elections. If you take our party's history, and if you look at the votes that any aspirant garnering to be president and leader of our party and potential president of our country, Bawumia is the first who has garnered in excess of 62% at the first attempt. Now, going forward, he also talks about the fact that he believes that the NPP is trying to make a fetish about where he hails from. That hasn't been it. But then in 2016, Felix's boss, President Dramani Mahama in the northern region, did indicate that if Bawumia if the NPP wants the people of northern extraction to vote for them, then they should bring a nod. So what happened to that argument? So if you are telling me today that we shouldn't make also a fetish where the person is hailing from, you are the first who even said that the people of the north should not even consider Bawumia in any arrangement because the NPP will never give him the chance. We have demonstrated beyond reasonable measure that this is a party for all. And not only have we demonstrated that the NPP is a party that embraces people from all tribes, from all faith, but Bawumia for us selling his unique qualities, not because we want him to transmogrify from a Muslim to a Christian, but his ability to even appeal to the Christian community has been huge. This is a vice president who on record has even facilitated the construction, the building of schools belonging to churches and supporting hospitals belonging to churches, foundations belonging to leper society. His empathy, his love for people, his modesty and humility. Now on the job side, somebody who has been 4 times, multiple times running mate, 2 times vice president, not president, his contribution to our economy, to our digitalization agenda, at least he stands for something. Felix should tell me one major intervention championed by President Mahama when he was vice president. But he will tell you that Vice President Mahama at that time performed even better than Dr. Bawumia as vice president. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure of the initiatives you recall that Vice President Mahama at that time championed that you can at least pinpoint. But it's fair that the NDC is coming hard at the MPP's candidate. And we are ready for a grueling viewers. Let me use the opportunity to also say congratulations to all members who worked towards Dr. Bawumia's campaign victory and electoral victory, to the rank and file of the party, to the dedicated supporters and volunteer groups who decided to take the campaign to the nook and cranny of our country. Yes, we had projections, and we were projecting to have no less than a 70-75%, as you said. But it was a well-fought victory. And it is also clear that the NPP delegates also gave him an emphatic victory. 60+% is a major victory. And let me also congratulate the teams of the Honorable Adainimo, the Honorable Kennedy Ohinie Japan and his team, and the Honorable Dr. Efriye Owusu-Akoto for also their participation, for their spirited performance, and also helping us to re-energize the base of our party. And beyond today is an NPP victory. I want to use your platform to also call on supporters of Dr. Bawumia to also embrace their colleagues from the various campaign teams, just as the new leader of our party said, for us to rededicate ourselves towards the 2024 project. It is an NPP victory, not a one-person victory. And Dr. Bawumia himself will be at the forefront of getting his brothers on board and giving them all the necessary recognition, the support, and the comfort as they join hands to prosecute an effective campaign in 2024.
The big question now is what's next, because you have contenders who were fighting with you now saying they're giving you support. But then I recall that Dr. Owusu-Akoto was emphatic that there needs to be discipline in the party, there needs to be unity in the party. You're part of the campaign team. Tell us, how is that bearing out for you?
The narrative will be key, and we are not going to also allow anybody to disrespect any of our opponents. In fact, when I say any of our opponents in the just ended presidential primaries, Dr. Bawumia himself has made it clear that let all of us work together in unity. And for us who are very close to him, we will also ensure that we also amplify his voice and make sure that each and every one, whether you supported him or you did not support him, whether you contested him or you did not contest him, each and every one of you have a place in Dr. Bawumia's campaign, and that's of the party's campaign as well. Now, after everything, the party now must also help take this new leader on its shoulders. And we are just a small team who help propel this victory of his, but the bigger scale is in the hands of the party, and we work closely with the party for electoral victory. And as I said, we have a well thought out strategy to deliver 2024, and we'll definitely share the strategy with the party and the rest of the leadership on how we can win 2024.
Now, what do you think are the strengths of your contender if you're pairing it against your biggest opposition, which is the NDC's John Dramani Mahama?
I think Dr. Bawumia's strength lies in his ability to draw people closer. He has this passion to deliver all the time. He sets his mind and targets on something, he gets it done. His meekness, his humility, his modesty. A vice president who campaigned with the bus. A vice president who is also willing to listen to whether the young or the old. He has not been president before, unlike President Mahama. So his contribution even as a vice president and what he brings to the table, his ability to attract both Christians and non-Christian voters, his ability to attract both Akan and non-Akan voters. He won in 14 out of the 16 regions. He won in 213 constituencies, plus the headquarters, making it 214 locations or centers yesterday. His ability to communicate well and with clarity. His ability to also appeal to non-core NPP voters. For me, these are things that strengthens his candidature. Then again, we also have a task to deliver, a campaign to prosecute, and a vision to share.
There's also the argument, how do you plan to fix a country that you supervised as vice president and you're still vice president? How do you plan to sell that message to Ghanaians?
Well, for him, just as he said, he has his own vision and he has his own priorities as well as a man who is going to be on the ballot. In the next few weeks, I am proud to tell you that he'll be having a conversation with the Ghanaian people. And he will outline his vision and what will define a future presidency or government of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
Sammy, Awuku, stay with us because we now have the age of NDC's presidential candidate, John Dramani Mahama, Felix Kwakye Ofosu. Thanks for joining us here on Joy Newsroom. Now, you have already described Bawumia's election as a weak signal. Why?
Yeah, Bawumia comes into this election as arguably the weakest candidate that the NPP has fielded. Because in a contest that is going to be as close as the 2024 elections, every candidate requires the total backing of his party. Now, if you look at Bawumia's performance yesterday, it was completely underwhelming. It was an embarrassing vote of no confidence in him by almost 40% of his party folk. Now, there's no candidate who has won a Ghanaian election on the first attempt, at least since the delegate base was enlarged in 2010, who has obtained less than 54% of the votes of the party's delegates. In 2014, President Akufo-Addo garnered 94.4% of the votes. So it was clear at the time that he was going into the elections that he had almost the totality of the NPP machinery and party base behind him. Now, Dr. Bawumia is going to go into a contest with President Mahama, who secured over 98% of the NDC delegates' votes in our primaries held earlier this year. Now, this performance is extremely underwhelming, especially when you consider that Dr. Bawumia was the establishment candidate. Everybody in government, from the president to the chief of staff to ministers, sitting MPs, CEOs, and other government functionaries were whipped into line to support him. He also had at his disposal the largest war chest. And in fact, yesterday, we saw and heard NPP delegates disclose that all 204,000 of them received at least 400 Ghana cedis from Dr. Bawumia. So that meant that at the very minimum, over 80 million Ghana cedis was pumped into this yesterday's contest by the Bawumia campaign. And yet, he was only able to garner 61% of the votes. If you look at his performance in some key NPP strongholds and important swing constituencies in Ghana, it shows that he is way off the target in terms of securing the presidency in 2024. For instance, a place like Accra, West Ogun, which has traditionally been an NPP stronghold, has a voter base that comes across the working class through to the middle class to the upper class. Dr. Bawumia failed to win. He lost to Kennedy Japan. If you look at a same constituency like Medina, Dr. Bawumia lost. If you look at Tema West, which is a key NPP stronghold, Dr. Bawumia lost. He also lost Cape Coast North. He lost a Futu, where the NPP has won parliamentary elections or even the general elections in about three election cycles. He also lost a Wutu Senya East, which is considered an NPP stronghold. So all these point to the fact that he comes into the 2024 elections limping, despite the massive support and massive amount of money that he received from the establishment. In addition to this, because of the NPP's extremely poor performance in government, any candidate that was going to represent them in the 2024 elections was going to struggle to defend their record. However, in the specific case of Dr. Bawumia, we were told in 2015 by President Akufo-Addo that he tapped him specifically to manage the Ghanaian economy. And in fact, since they've been in government in 2016, Dr. Bawumia himself has spared no effort to remind the people of Ghana that he is the man in charge of the economy. In 2018, when President Akufo-Addo delivered his State of the Nation address, he told the people of Ghana that some so-called modest gains had been made at the time. And those gains had been made under the sterling leadership of the strong and brilliant economist who is selling the economic identity. So today, if the economy is in crisis and Ghanaians have been thrown into the harshest economic conditions in 50 years and cannot make ends meet, and all economic indicators are pointing south, there's no way Dr. Bawumia can escape blame. He cannot explain to the people of Ghana why he has failed so miserably to manage the task of ensuring that the economy is on a sound footing, and yet he should be given additional responsibility as president. Again,
well, Felix, let me come in at this point.
Okay,
Felix, let me come in at this point. The argument is, if you do an assessment of both candidates, you put out Mahama on 2 occasions, and Bawumia, even as vice president, defeated your candidate. Now we're going to the 2024 elections, and you brought forth the same candidate. That's the argument.
Which election did Bawumia appear on the ballot paper for the MPP, for which reason he defeated Mahama? Nothing of the sort has happened. It defies logic with the greatest respect to you. He has not featured in any election. Number 2, the mere loss of an election in Ghana is no reason why one cannot win elections again. In fact, President Kufuor lost elections in 1996, yet he won the 2000 election. President Mills lost the 2000 election, lost the 2004 election, and won the 2008 election. President Akufo-Addo lost the 2008 election, even as the candidate of the incumbent party. He lost in 2012 and won in 2016. So Dr. Bawumia, first of all, has never featured in any election as a candidate. He has played second fiddle to Akufo-Addo for 16 years. But when they came into government, he was given specific responsibility to manage the economy. And he has still, there's no dispute about it. In fact, President Mahama too, who Bawumia is going to contest, Dr. Bawumia is going to contest with, has been head of the economic management team before. So if Ghanaians go to the polls and they want to see who can manage this country, especially at a time when the economy is the most important subject that is going to define the 2024 election, they will look at whose record is better. And if you use every indicator, even the virtual analysis, if you check your own living conditions, your pocket, the cost of living, and how you are able to survive, you see that President Mahama performed far better in his role as vice president and head of the economic management team than Dr. Bawumia has done. And there's no dispute that any rational, sane member of the electorate going to make a decision on who can best manage the affairs of this country will see on.
Well, thank you.